Why? Why would you do that?
Am I too late for karaoke? Should we start already?
Well, we did start already, Brad. Nice of you to keep up. Come on, man. Come on.
Well, I overshot the pace last time.
You did. This is true. Welcome to another episode of Level 3. As you well know, this is Barry, and I'm Jason or something. We talk about video games.
We do.
I believe.
And other things to do with video games as well.
The big one we're going to talk about this week, Medal of Honor.
Yes, that's our game of the week. We're doing a bit of coverage on it, aren't we?
We are. I'm doing single player. Timmy's doing multiplayer. And Darth, no one cares, but he's doing frontline. He's doing a 90-second review of frontline.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of coverage of Medal of Honor. But the other one is yours, which is 99
nights. I haven't got time for Medal of Honor. I just play weeaboo stuff. So,
well, this is why we have him. This is why he's around here.
Gotta fill the niche.
Well, what are you playing at the moment?
Sengoku Basara.
See, isn't that the most weeaboo shit you've ever heard in your life? Yeah, rock
metal.
Yeah, cute. But there's also some. I mean, there's been some other pretty big news besides our obvious Medal of Honor coverage.
Yeah, of
course. We've also got our good friend Mr. Blomberg.
Mr. Blomberg,
good old Yug from Australian Gamer.
Yep.
Is the boys there are opening because it's him and Yahtzee and Price and a few others.
Price from Sega Creative Assembly and Shay who just likes bars and does accounting.
And does accounting. They are opening up the Manor Bar in Melbourne.
No, they have confirmed it now. There was been in the talks for a while. They said it was going to happen, but they didn't say when. They've announced that it's going to be opening mid-December in Fitzroy. And Sydney's is going to be opening not too long after it in 2011 somewhere.
It's going to be pretty big.
It's going to be big. They've said so far about the venue, it'll be bigger than Brisbane's venue, which is good, because Brisbane's venue capacity is only about 65.
Yeah, I think it's 65,
It's got its own
70.
dedicated rooms, so separate rooms, dedicated Guitar Hero room, and they're going to have different events there, and Yahtzee's going to be travelling between the two locations for trivia nights also.
There you
so
go.
It's going to pretty much be the Brisbane Manor Bar, only larger, and this time they know what to expect as well. So I'm kind of thinking this may become the main one, at least until Sydney opens. It may stay that way anyway, given Melbourne and Sydney had the Facebook competition to determine who'd get it first, and Melbourne won by a landslide.
Yes, well, because we're very passionate, but the other thing as well is there's not a lot of game companies down here is the other thing to keep in mind. So.
But then again, they get so many launches in Brisbane.
This is true.
Melbourne's closer.
This is true. And not to mention, Mr. Yug kind of gets what he wants around these parts. So. But one thing else we went to was Armageddon, which we've just had, which was fantastic.
Armageddon in Melbourne did just occur. It was the last Armageddon of the year. That was the exhibition centre over the weekend. Many different guests. I know you were not going on to a couple of them.
Lloyd Kaufman. No one
yeah.
told me Lloyd Kaufman. I mean, you had Michael Bain there. You had, there was some Doctor Who's there, you were saying. Paul McGann.
Yeah, Michael Shanks and Ben Browder from Farscape.
And Farscape and Stargate.
Yeah.
Farscape, man.
I skipped for Farscape.
He actually cracked the nanas because no one asked him. Well, he didn't crack the nanas, but he's like, come on, man, ask me about Farscape.
Yeah.
Well, which is good because Farscape was awesome.
He won't be at the New Zealand one, though. He's gone back. So it was just the Melbourne show he came to. So.
Well, I mean, and it was huge. It was massive. There was great things. There was you had Kirsty dressed as Elvira. You were dressed as Dan. Continuity error Dan. But it was a good day, and it was just full on. Lots of recognition. Lots of people came up and said hello. So anyone who did come up and say hello. We've got a big episode of it coming up. We've got
a lot of coverage for it, and a couple of interviews as well. So definitely worth tuning in.
Lloyd Kaufman interview, 7 minutes.
Whoa, that's a lot of Kaufman.
7 minutes, and he was great. It was
he would have been entertaining.
Apparently were his favourite form of homosexual entertainment.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Can we quote that? Can we have a DVD? Can we put that
that's exactly what's going on the logo. That's exactly what's going on there. He was great. But I'll tell you what, we'll go into these things. We'll get some Medal of Honor done. We'll get some 909s done. We'll come back after, and we'll discuss the last few things we got to talk about.
There's a few things to talk about.
Why not?
Until then, Medal of Honor.
Now, I'm going to do the Medal of Honor single player, and we're going to split it up. Timmy's going to do multiplayer. I'm going to do single player. But I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I was kind of a little bit meh when they announced they were making Medal of Honor, and they were going to split it up, and they were going to be cool about it, and they were going to make it, it's going to be modern. And it's like, yeah, now you're copying. When Infinity Ward did it with Call of Duty 4, they were like, I guess, innovating would be the word. You're copying, and you didn't even do that good a job. Now, the problem with this game is not only that it looks bad and that it sounds bad and that it's glitchy as hell and that it plays bad. No, actually, that is what's wrong with the game. I don't want to say it's dreadful because it's not, but it's below average. Particularly for a studio. I mean, the EA guys were talking about, it's not like they don't have the money for it. It's not like they don't have the kit for it. It's not like they don't have any resources available to them. There's no reason it should be this mediocre, and it is. It's not black in that it's not bad, and I wanted to stab myself in the face, but it was so meh. Meh. Tell you what, get down to some scores. We'll cut to the quick. Get Timmy on. Let him do his thing. It's a vibe, it's Marbo. The graphics. Now, the graphics look terrible. I thought they were Frostbite, so I was willing to half let them go for a little bit. And I just, like, yeah, I was willing to let them go. And I thought, okay, it's Frostbite engine. Frostbite didn't look that good to begin with. You never know. It looks terrible. And then I found out it's bloody Unreal. It's Unreal Engine 3. It looks atrocious. Blocks, like I'm talking PS3 level jaggies. Now, they reckon the PC version's better. I don't really care. This looks atrocious, and I'm not reviewing the PS3. Graphics, 3 out of 10. It looks good. People die. Their bodies, but just the spawning looks terrible. Everything looks pretty damn bad. The explosions, nothing is really that good about it. Sound. The voice acting is annoying, but it's also like Halo, where you don't hear them, so you don't care. So you don't care what's happening. The Taliban, we're gonna get those guys. It's like you don't care. It's just have the South Park guys going when you're shooting terrorists, and that would be it. That would be the game, and it would be a better sound than this. The guns sound fine, but you know what was annoying? You walk up to glass, and this is probably something to do with the graphics as well. You smash the glass, you hit it with a knife. The glass doesn't smash, but it makes a full-on. Not every time you do it, and I know the mic's going to love that, and you guys are going to love me for doing that at home, but I have to illustrate the point. Every time you hit it, he's going, but the glass doesn't break. It's terrible. And the knife, you slice through someone, and it goes, like, it's like you're fucking sucking it through a straw. Ugh, terrible. Sound, 3 out of 10. Great gameplay. Now, the gameplay is adequate in the sense that it's adequate. It's completely run-of-the-mill. It does a slide move now that Call of Duty doesn't do. It does like a pop-out aim bit, which is, I guess, handy, but it's not handy on a controller. And as much as anything else, you'd rather be running and gunning. Like, it'd be better to just go pop, 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 but it doesn't really capture that vibe. Not to mention, I mean, the missions are varied enough, but there are a lot of copy. I mean, instead of doing the AC-130, you're in an Apache, like, gunship this time. Instead of the Zakayev mission, you've got like this when you're on the mountains, and the sniper's 1-to-1. How crap is that? You're 900 meters away, the bullet drops. Unfortunately, it's not a laser beam. It doesn't just go boom and go into one way. It drops. There were so many. You can tell they just rushed it together to make the multiplayer experience to try and get some of that Call of Duty dollars before Call of Duty came out. It's the Move equivalent. Like they tried to get it out a month beforehand to try and capitalize on the thunder. Gameplay, 5 out of 10. Utterly average. All up, 4 out of 10. You could certainly do a lot better than this, and you could get it from a lot of people who don't have as much resources as you guys. This was terrible, and I'm waiting for Call of Duty Black Ops because I reckon I'm gonna be able to rip that into shreds. But for now, you're my new whipping boy. Medal of Honor, you've just surpassed Modern Warfare 2 as terrible. How do you feel? Got to be good. Bring back Call of Duty 4.
Now, on the next-gen consoles, as of recent, there's been a real lot of hack-and-slash titles coming out. We've had Dynasty Warriors 6 Empires, we've had Samurai Warriors 3. We haven't had very many fantasy-based ones. There's been ones coming out now, it's 99 Nights 2. Those who are older or original owners of the Xbox 360 may remember the first one, which was a glorified tech demo of sorts. Is this going to be much the same thing, or are they really going to have fleshed out to make something a bit more epic in its approach? Now, 99 Nights 2, or Triple N2 as it's known, has a fairly decent story. It's a little bit all over the place, but in the end it all makes sense. You play a army or a band of people defending one single town, the town of Orphea, against this massive evil army, which has been around for about 90 days. After it's around for 100 days, the knights, or the armor, does vanish entirely. So they're trying to take over this town, or this castle of sorts, to get this all before the 100 days runs out. Because if they get them together, it doesn't run out, and he stays around and takes over the world of sorts. So you're pretty much defending about that. There's not much else to the story, though. It's pretty simple. It's a generic fantasy storyline, so we'll really go into the scores and the heart of the concept itself. Graphically, the game isn't exactly the greatest of games. It's 30 frames per second most of the time, unless you're indoors where it's 60 frames per second. So it kind of mixes it up a little bit. The level design is kind of samey. It's just your generic castle grounds, your generic dungeons. There's nothing really fancy about them. A couple of interesting traps, things like that. Character design suffers from the same problem. It's attempted to kind of go for a fantasy approach, and it does get that, but it's very generic in what it is. They don't stand out in any way, shape, or form. It's just, that's a dude with a sword. That's someone that casts spells. That's some dude with knives. That's a goblin. Things like that. You can tell what they are, but they're nothing really special apart from that. The level of detail in the actual design itself of the stages isn't too bad, though. You will find the actual graphics aren't exactly terrible. They're not brilliant, but they're certainly better than other games you'll find out there. Monster design, however, is very unoriginal also. It's just, here's a bunch of troops. Here they are on horses, and here they are with bigger swords. There's not too much to it. It does stand up, and keep in mind, most hack-and-slash army games like this really do kind of fall on the graphics. So comparing it to the others, graphically it's a 6. It's still not great, but it's certainly better than the other ones you'll find out there. Now, the sound, like most hack and slashes, isn't the greatest, but it is better than others. The English voice acting, however, is absolutely terrible. It's horrible. They've all tried to put on these fake English accents and they really don't work. The Japanese soundtrack, however, is one of the best soundtracks for voicing I've heard in a hack and slash game in a really long time. It's really solid, it's synced perfectly of course, and really does portray the emotions of the characters much better than the very flat pan English one does. The music is very orchestral in its approach, and it does show, it does work. The music is relevant to where you are, it's kind of complements level design as well, so the music's quite solid also. Everything else though is kind of unremarkable. The sounds, there's magic spells, so fire, explosions, there's nothing too great. Sound is a 7, I said there is better out there, but it did really nail the Japanese voice acting track, I said, but the English one really needed a lot of work or an entirely new cast. And the sound effects could have been a little sharper, just something you may actually notice instead of just bleh, 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 which is pretty much all you get. Now, as I've stated earlier, 99 Nights 2 is a horde fighter. You are a dude, you fight thousands of other dudes. It's a bit unique in its approach, in the sense that you have to kill every dude to progress to the next section most of the time. So unlike your other army-based games, you can't just run past everyone and kill a bad guy. You have to kill pretty much everyone to progress. Characters are very balanced. There are many of them, there's like about 6 or so. So a lot less than your normal game. But they're all very balanced, which does work well. And they also play very differently compared to each other, unlike other Warriors games where they'll all have the exact same attack streams and nothing really different to them. So as it is unique in its approach. Downsides are, in that sense, it's a very long time between saves. Unlike your Dynasty Warrior style games where you can play for 10 minutes, then you've done a mission, you can put it away. This one can take in excess of 2 hours to complete a mission at some times, or at least in my case anyway. So you'll find there are checkpoints, yes, but checkpoints can be 20 to 30 minutes apart. And it does kind of get a bit samey, and that, coming from me, that's pretty rich, of just chopping monsters over and over and over and over again. Thankfully, they do mix it up a little bit. They have introduced magic and skills, so you can chuck fireballs and things like that. You can generate defensive walls, and there are skills you can chain into each other. It's very comboist, so you do go for combos in the thousands of hits, things like that as well. It's a very ARPG approach, I guess, in that aspect. So it's very much like an action RPG, and they've kind of made it more of an army-based fighter instead. It does have an upgrade system. You do get this one single currency in the game called souls, demon souls much, where you use it, or red orbs rather, where you get to upgrade whether your health, your statistics, or your weapons. You do find other weapons as well, and you can upgrade your skills and your magic, but it's relative to each character, so you can't really get a bunch of stuff from one character to make it complement the rest. You'll get the entrance skills. You have to level everyone up separately. So it does give you a bit of longevity in that fact, compared to other games where you get the best armor in the game. All of a sudden, all your characters have the best armor in the game, and the game becomes really easy. The game is very difficult in some things too. The bosses are quite hard. Currency is hard to come by as well, so you've got to be careful what you upgrade, because currency is, once again, also unique to each character. And health is hard to come by, so you do need to occasionally think of what you're doing before you go running into a room blindly, because if you do get killed, you end up losing 20-30 minutes, and sometimes a lot longer, and boss fights can also take in excess of half an hour if you're not too careful. The gameplay is very solid. It's worthy of the 8 I'm going to give it. Downside is, the only reason I'm taking a couple points away, the multiplayer isn't that good. It's very same. It does have it at least, which is something that the others don't have, so that in itself is a plus. But it's just you and generally another dude taking on a bunch of guys in one single small room. It's like a coliseum of sorts. Just get as far as you can. It is fun for like 10-20 minutes, then you kind of get bored, but it's a good way to get cash. So as I said, gameplay is an 8. It brings a lot to the table, a lot that others haven't done, and takes a different approach, and it does work well. Just a couple of hiccups bring it down from the top mark. Ultimately, 99 Nights 2 is going to get a 7 out of 10. Reason being is it does bring a lot to the table, as said, in its approach. The gameplay is very solid. Certainly better than some of the other ones you can get out there. Downside is though graphics aren't really very good. The sound's kind of a little bit samey, could be a lot better. So it does bring a lot more than others do, and if you're into the more epic-y style approach ones, and particularly the more fantasy style approach of horde RPG games, you really can't go wrong. However, if you just want a good hack and slash, you could probably give it a miss, and there are better titles out there right now, like Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes, and if you go back a little bit, Warriors Orochi 2, and there's also Fist of the North Stars Warriors coming out, as well as Gundam Warriors 3 coming out. There's some better stuff coming out, but if you want something that's a little bit different, definitely worth looking at, and Blade Storm might also be up your alley if you're into this kind of thing.
Now, Jason told you all about the single player of Medal of Honor, and while I probably had a better experience on the PC, and it was a hell of a lot less buggy, it still wasn't long enough to justify that full price game purchase. So I'm here taking a look at the multiplayer of Medal of Honor. Now, it's not by
done by EA's Danger Close. It's actually done by DICE, which is known for their Battlefield series. So DICE is taking a new look at the Call of Duty formula, which is it's a different direction for them. So we'll see if they can take the Call of Duty formula and improve on it. Now, the graphics and sound aren't going to be much different from the single player, so I won't cover that much. I'll go straight into the gameplay because that's what we're interested in. There's 4 different types of gameplay modes you can have. One's a combat mission, in which it's objective-based. You've got to capture ammo depots and blow up AA guns and mortar positions, all that sort of stuff. You've got your standard like CS-style gameplay with the 2 bomb sites, one attacks, one defends. You've got a conquest-style gameplay, which is just capturing sectors, as well as Team Assault, which everyone's going to play Team Assault. It's just your standard team deathmatch, and that's what most people will be looking forward to. Now, in the game, you've got 3 sets of classes. You've got your Sniper, Spec Ops, and Rifleman. They're pretty self-explanatory. It's not too much different from any other multiplayer shooter. Now, in the game, you get 8 maps, and 2 of them are for the combat missions. So the other 6 maps you can interchange between the other 3 modes. Now, the 4 gameplay modes offer a little bit of variety, but it would really be nice to see some extra maps come out, even a mod kit, because once the mod kit comes out and there's a community around it, you get lots of maps coming out, lots of new gameplay modes, so it'll just make Medal of Honor multiplayer that little bit more fun. Now, each of the classes has 15 levels that you can upgrade. While you're doing that, you get silencers, extra scopes, new bullets, that sort of stuff. It gives the game a little bit more variety, but it's the Call of Duty formula. One big omission from the game, though, is bullets dropping while you're sniping. I mean, I had so much fun in Bad Company 2, where you just shoot some guy from across the map. You'd have to aim probably about a metre or 2 above them, and then you just see the bullet drop and then fall off the building. That was great. Just the long shots in this one, where you aim, you hit, and it makes it a little bit easier, and also it doesn't make it as much fun. I've been having a lot of fun with the multiplayer so far, especially as Special Ops, just sprinting around, flanking, trying to get behind the sniper positions and just axing them all. It's a lot of fun. The game itself, if I have to give the multiplayer a score, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10, and it comes with the Battlefield 3 beta key. So I'm even more excited about Battlefield 3 than I'm Medal of Honor, but that's beside the point. Medal of Honor, it's good multiplayer. Longevity might be a bit of an issue, but we'll be able to see if it stands up to the competition when Black Ops comes out next month.
Well, that's for a game that we didn't really like, we've certainly given it a lot of coverage.
Into it, yeah.
And there's actually more to come. Dusk's going to do Medal of Honor Frontline.
He likes to talk.
He does.
A lot.
Now, much like Jason and Timmy, I've also been playing Medal of Honor. I don't particularly like it, but it's not the reason why I picked it up. You see, the PlayStation 3 versions, if you get the Tier 1 or the limited editions, happen to come with a free copy, and a free remaster copy, I might add, of Medal of Honor Frontline, and that's what I'm here today to talk to you all about. If you never played it, the game was originally released, I think, about 2001, 2002, and really it focuses more on, say, the latter stages of World War II, focusing more or less on the European theatre, kicking off with the D-Day landings, taking you through Operation Market Garden, and finally concluding with a mission to take down a secret Nazi aircraft which was going to win the war. All in all, it's still a fantastic experience. That being said, though, it's actually a little dated. I mean, admittedly, it's again released close to a decade ago now. I just started thinking about it. And as such, the formula may seem a little bit hard for people to get into, especially if you're raised on games like Halo, Call of Duty, even games like that. It also doesn't help that EA haven't really done much to the game. I mean, sure, they've added a brand new control scheme to actually make the game playable, and it's starting to see how the old controllers are. And they've also had a trophy, so if you're into that kind of stuff, it's rad. But then you've also got, they haven't done much else. Like, they've made the game look a little better. They made the game, run a little better. They've also made the sound a little better. But then again, the game has always had one of the most amazing soundtracks ever. So in reality, it's all good. But otherwise, though, as an extra to what is effectively a full-price retail game, It's not a little bit. It's actually a pretty decent addition. And hey, if you've got an extra 6 gigs on your PS3, it's a free install. You really can't go wrong. Just don't go ahead and expecting a game that's aged well. But otherwise, fantastic experience. Oh, fantastic experience. Not much more I can say about that.
Wow, end of another big show.
Yeah.
A lot of Medal of Honor.
Too much Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
Too much for me.
Yeah.
It's rich for me because my review is kind of long, but
Too much Medal of Honor considering we didn't get sent a copy.
But we digress.
We digress. Going on a company that does love us, which is Mindscape. And Beck from
Yes.
Mindscape has given us 6
copies.
count them, 6 copies of PES to give away. 3 Xbox.
We've got 3 PS3 as well. So 3 PS Triple, 3 Xbox turnaround.
We're going to make you earn it though. What did we decide?
We decided on we're going to do a fantasy team. So you needed 11 members of a team, captain inclusive, as well as 2 subs.
Correct.
But it doesn't have to be from soccer. It can be from whatever.
No.
If anything, avoid soccer. Do something different.
Yeah, and give him a name, give him a funny name, whatever. And because Brad will be judging him because I'm not going to read your emails.
So be creative.
Make sure you add weeaboo shit because he'll love that. He'll love that. And put Eris in there or something.
Because that'll win you loads of
And
favors.
then she gets a red card and sent off the field. I hear there's ways you can bring her back at the end if you have like 1,000 Phoenix down.
And a Game Shark.
Game Shark.
Contest at level3.org.au is where you can enter.
Love
2 enters
Game
because you have
Shark.
6 of them to give away. So chances of winning are higher than normal.
And we'll be announcing the winner of our Civ 5 contest
Shortly.
in a couple of days. Check
If
the
you
website,
entered,
check the Facebook.
best of luck to you.
Indeed. I guess there's only a couple more
There's
things.
a few
to
things
mention.
that are coming out in the future. We've got New Vegas coming out soon.
Yeah, so no doubt there'll be a Fallout New Vegas episode if anyone remembers our Fallout episode from last year.
Yes.
Which was very
Before my
very
time, but it
popular.
was awesome. So.
Yeah, it was very popular. The old man spent a lot of time doing that, and we'd like to make him work. So that's how we roll, yo.
We've also got, by the time you see this, the Fist of the North Star demo, Fist of the North Star Warriors, will be out on Xbox Live Marketplace and PSN. Been looking forward to this for a while, because I haven't been reviewing enough Warriors-style games to show for that already.
Well, it's like Fist of the North Star, but Dynasty Warriors, isn't it?
Exactly, but it's not going to be more army-based like the other ones. There's still armies, but it's a bit more one-on-one, because it's meant to be like a brawler.
Yeah,
You beat up dudes. The
yeah.
final bosses, you fight them one-on-one, and they're meant to be quite hard.
Well, I hope it's good because I don't mind like Hokuto no Ken, which is its Japanese name, isn't it?
Hooked on Ken, yeah.
Ah,
Eight
see?
playable characters, though? Man,
Really?
so few.
Surely you'd only really need like the one.
No, Kenshiro, Rao.
Yeah, and that's it.
That's it. There's more. You got Ray, you got Mamiya, you got Mr. Hart, who's the big dude as well. Yeah, there's a few, but still 8 is not enough. It's really given they could have done more, but apparently they all play really differently. And the demo gives you Kenshiro and Ray, so you've got a few to try. You've got a Hokuto and a Nanto style user.
There you go. Well, you've done your homework.
Do it for
I've
you.
been waiting for it because it's coming. Tell you what, wrapping up. Probably only got about 30 seconds, 45
Something
seconds.
like
Left. Don't forget to check out the forums, Facebook,
Twitter as well.
We've got the website. We've got the live streams, which
We
are very
do.
popular and get us into a lot of trouble when we.
Don't get into any trouble at all.
Well, I got emails. I always get
Oh,
emails.
exploitable.
Yeah. Well, this is true. But I guess make sure you check it out and don't forget the extended online cuts because we love
Yes,
those. And,
they are long. They have more reviews. May have more again footage in them, things like that too.
So I guess that's kind of it, Barry. I guess it's time to wrap up and say goodbye to another episode.
Goodbye to another episode.
Goodbye to another episode.
We're done.
Mm-hmm.